way I came in this way, I picked hard toward that post, and then went back. A very motivated athlete who wants to do extra training in their own pool, this is the perfect device for that. So before an athlete begins using the zip throw device, there are some basics that they all need to know. We need to address the wrist, the elbow, and the body position. So for the ball to go off of your hand, you're going to want to snap your wrist. You're going to want to snap it straight and pretty flat. You're going to want to keep your forearm lined up with the rope. Okay, so my hand is, again, straight up, my forearm straight up. I throw and receive. If the athlete's turning their wrist, the ball's going to go in different directions. Or if their forearm is out here, it's less likely to come back to their hand. So to have a straight throw, we need a straight wrist and a straight forearm lined up with the rope. The other really important element as we set the height of the ball, which is adjustable, is to try to have the shoulders at least slightly out of the water. So get up a little bit higher. Here. So one of the primary benefits of zip throw training is learning wrist control and wrist releases. It's good to experiment with different wrist releases. By that I mean turning your wrist this way, straight up, turning it that way, spinning your wrist, and just see what happens. It's just to get a feel for throwing and catching, and the ball is going to give you the feedback. So if the ball spins off to the right, you're probably spinning your wrist in this direction. And vice versa, the ball's going to go off to the left. If I spin off my thumb or these two fingers. If I want it to go straight, spin off these middle three fingers. Okay, so we can practice moving back to get a little bit of a downward motion. We can move forward to get a little bit of an upward motion. You'll have less time to catch and receive the ball. As we focus on the forearm, one of the primary things I coach athletes to do is to line their forearm up with the rope. And this will allow them to throw more straight toward their target. And so as I line up, I want to put my forearm under the rope. There. And I'm checking it. It's lined up. I can see it as a coach. And the ball goes straight off and comes straight back. If I'm out here, which some athletes are, the ball moves in a slightly more elliptical pattern, or vice versa. If I'm out here, the ball's moving around in an arc a little bit. So, really want to line up that forearm with the rope. The next thing I like to teach the athletes as we move down the kinetic chain from the wrist to the elbow to the shoulders is to rotate their body. Many athletes will begin in a very square setup, very parallel to the target, and this is okay to learn wrist and forearm, but if we want to generate more power, we need to be turning the shoulders over the hips. And so rather than just be, again, very parallel like this, I'm super parallel, we want to start working on rotating the shoulders. And many will notice that the ball begins to move in this elliptical pattern. So it also is important to teach to counter-rotate the wrist slightly. One of the ways you'll know is if the ball comes straight back to your hand, with that flat hand follow through. So I'm going to rotate the shoulders and keep the wrist on line to the target. So another thing that's of super benefit about this training tool, the zip throw, is we're able to adjust the height of the ball. And so as we raise the height of the ball, and I encourage all athletes and coaches to experiment with different heights of the ball, you will have to increase your egg beater tempo to get up. That means faster kicks, faster arm pulls to make the catch. So Justin is going to slowly bring the ball down and slowly raise the ball, much like someone at a party is operating the piñata. If you have a partner, ideally, or you'll have to get out on your own and do this. So every couple of throws, make a slight adjustment. Feel it coming down a little bit easier. Let me know if you're going to go up or down.
I'm going to go up now.
You're going to go up a little higher. Oh yeah. Got to work harder to get up. So another way to feel that we're maximizing our power is by getting an ab crunch into our throw. And that may be a little bit harder to see from the camera, but I'm going to do an ab crunch, much like a sit-up. So I'm going to leg up and do a sit-up, 1, 2. So I'm up, crunch. This also leads to good body position, bringing ourselves forward and off of our back. Ab crunch. Kick ab crunch. So in the chain of reactions, I'm kicking, I'm crunching my abs, and releasing the ball. So another very common problem we can address here, this is one of the primary benefits of the zip throw device, is athletes being too far on their back or throwing off their back. And one of the things we can watch is the shoulder as it lines up with the hip. So if the shoulder's back behind the hip and staying back there, we're going to have minimal power, not even close to our max. So we want to make sure we're up over the hip, we're coming over the hip with the shoulder. And so we can do this with 1 or 2 hands. What I'm going to work on is egg beatering up and bringing my shoulder over my hip. And again, the benefit here is I will see and feel the ball go off my hand a lot harder, a lot faster. And one of the ways we'll know that is it comes back to me a lot harder and a lot faster. So I'll start nice and easy. You can see I'm a little bit on my back. All right, now I'm going to start putting my shoulder over my hip. The ball goes quite a bit higher. Another thing that I never learned as a young player, but I can really see it and feel it here, is how to coordinate the movement of my legs, the timing of my kick, into building up and leading into my pass or my shot. So rather than just egg beatering independently of the rest of my body or my throw, I'm working on the time, even with the crunch of the ab. It's really important to get that strong side leg up and loaded. So for me as a righty, I'm going to bring my right leg up super high and my right knee to load like a pitcher, almost pushing off the mound. And that's actually the beginning of my pass and my shot. So I'm going to come up, and then I'm going to kick off that back leg. And we see how high, how far the ball goes.